Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we are specifically going to talk about the Northmen, and we're going to talk about the Northmen's approach to a magical sword, and how to use it in Dungeons & Dragons. Warning, spoilers for the Northmen 2022 in this content. Alright, so I just saw the Northman. It is spectacular. I think his name is Alexander Skarsgård, and he was born to play this role. And I love seeing movies like this. They don't come across that often, but sometimes movies are, the main character in a film is just perfectly cast, right? And it doesn't happen that often. Cruella. If you haven't seen Cruella, go watch that movie. The main actress who played Cruella, it was like she was born to play this role. And when you see a role like this, you're like, holy cows, this is it in a basket, right? Like, this person, I'll tell you right now, Alexander Skarsgård he's done. He could retire tomorrow because he ain't never going to do better at anything. This used him exactly the way he should be used, right? Like, I saw a movie like where he played a dude who invented who made like sending messages over a cable faster. I was like, what a huge waste of Alexander Skarsgård in this film, right? It was just like, it seemed weird and odd. But this perfectly used Alexander Skarsgård. He played a perfect Viking, right? And it really felt like he was taking the role seriousness. He put his heart and soul into it. Spectacular film, okay? And every dungeon master needs to see this, and every dungeon player needs to see this. Specifically, you gotta wait until you're 18 because it's definitely a rated R film. So basically, this movie has a lot to say. And in the movie, there is a magical sword, okay? It is called the Nightblade. And it is an absolutely perfect example of how to do a really epic, really simple magical item, right? So one of the things is the Nightblade is this blade that he literally has to get from a withered, from a skeleton, right? He has to take this sword from a skeleton. And it's a very creepy, powerful, night-ridden, scene, and it carries the weight of finding a magical item. He has to quest for this magic item, right? So first, the player is, and actually, it's really crazy. So basically, Alexander Skarsgård plays this character who is coming back to avenge his father, save his mother, and kill his uncle. Okay, and he says this. He's like, he says this as a mantra throughout the whole movie. He's like, I will avenge you, father. I will save you, mother. I will kill you, Fjorn. Right? Fjorn is his uncle's name, right? And so he quests to get this blade that was forged by people who were loyal to his father, forged in secret in Fjorn's blacksmith area. Forged in secret for him, right? And this thing is bound to the Norn fates. There's a thread where it says this blade was forged for you, son of the king, to slay the killer of the king, right? And so this thing was forged for him, right? And so let's talk about the Nightblade and what it is. So one, it's a longsword. It's not a great sword. It's not a two-handed sword. It's just a freaking longsword, right? It does have magical runes on it, right? And the Nightblade is special in the following way. So its coolest aspect is, at night, it is weightless, right? That's a big deal. It's weightless, right? So he could just switch this thing around, and that's a big deal. Like if it's weightless, you're not going to tire the way your opponent will tire, right? So the way I would put that into Dungeons & Dragons is I would make it have advantage for anybody who uses it, okay? But this was also forged for him. So for the person, if any normal person picks up the Nightblade, and I would put this right into your campaign, it's a brilliant idea. So if anybody picks up the Nightblade at night and draws it out of a scabbard at night and uses it, they get advantage on their to hit roll. Okay. In addition to that, they get. But if it's the person who it was forged for, they get a D4 to hit and an extra D4 damage, right? Kind of makes it a little better, right? So, and then the other thing that's really important is the Nightblade can only be drawn from its scabbard at nighttime. So if you try to draw it in the day, it literally cannot be drawn. And I love this aspect of the magic item, and I really think this is a great Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition magic item idea, because it has this really cool flaw, right? It really makes it unique and narrative, right? Now, I went to see this movie with my brother, and he just could not stop laughing. He did not get this movie. He did not enjoy this movie, right? And he was literally laughing through the film, and he was also trying to make himself stop because he knew people were coming to see this movie. But he was like, why wouldn't you just get a regular good old sword that can do it in a day and do it in a night, right? But I was so here for it. I'm like, oh, this is cool, right? And the reality is, really, that's all this thing does. Is it just, there's one more thing. When it comes time for the son of the king to kill the king's killer, the sword can be drawn at any time by that person, right? So day or night, right? And that's what, and the reason why is it has this magical thread. Like this sword was forged for one person to kill one person, right? And so the way I would do this thing is it has advantage for anybody who picks it up. For the one person it was forged for, they get a D4 to hit, and they get a plus D4 to hit and a plus D4 to damage. And beyond that, it's it. It's just going to hit a lot more than most items hit. But it's very and in your game, this thing cannot be drawn during the day, right? And the way I would explain this is, to whoever gets it, right, to your players, is like, this is your sword. You don't carry a second sword that you use in the day. You have to deal with the problems of it. And if you don't, you're cursed, right? Like, because this is the night blade, right? So it, and also other things is like it's never going to glint in the moonlight or anything like that. So like it will, I would say it also gives maybe, it also allows you to add your proficiency when you're trying to stealth, right? But the night sword, the night blade, is a brilliant, magic item. I thought it was really narrative. I thought it really fit. I was really impressed with. And also I have to say, I thought it was really clever in the movie that all the knights, they were like, this is a magical sword, which we don't have to do any CGI for. And I was so here for it. If you're a Dungeon Master over 18, if you're a Dungeons & Dragons player over 18, you got to see this movie. It is spectacular. And it really has a lot of great ideas and great, just pure energy and ideas, and is fantastic for any Dungeon Master or any Dungeon player. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you seen this movie? Do you know anything about Vikings that I don't know? I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.